folks, welcome back. This is Taura's Elbow Bump. How are you? How are you doing? Are you doing okay? How is your family feeling? Everybody good? All right, remember, if you need anything, just drop me an email and I'm happy to help in some way. The school is really coming together to provide any support that you guys might need. That's what we're here for. So lucky you get to hear my voice for another lecture, but the best part is we will be learning about quantitative data, tables, and graphs. Yay! So let's start off with a little bit of discussion about what we've done so far. So in the last couple videos, we've talked about bar graphs and how they're used to compare variables, and they plot categorical data, so qualitative data. We looked at how we could compare the number of men and women or the different patients in terms of race or diagnosis. All these things are qualitative variables that describe a characteristic of that person. The other type of bar graph that we use in statistics is called a histogram. And a histogram shows distributions of values, measurements of a variable. They plot quantitative data and they have different ranges where the data is grouped, and those ranges are called bins or intervals. So before we get too into this, I want to make sure that we have the vocabulary that we need in order to discuss this. And I just want to go ahead and just very superficially clarify some terms with you. Let's talk about first what a frequency is. A frequency within a data set is how often a certain value occurs in that entire set. Okay, if we were thinking of the set as a bunch of measurements, which really is what the data set is just different things being measured, or I should say what different quantitative variables are, those are measurements of different things, right? Time, scores, different things are being measured. Then if a data value, one piece of data, one particular value, it happens over and over again, how often that happens is its frequency. The frequency table is just a table that gives an outline of the frequency of each one of those data values as in comparison to the entire set. If the data set, the entire data set has been divided into intervals, then the table shows the frequency of all the values within that interval. In order to display the frequency table in a visual way, we can convert the information in the frequency table into a histogram. The histogram is a type of graph that just shows the frequency of the data within equal intervals. So the important word here is equal intervals. The intervals have to be the same and consistent. One feature of a histogram is there are no spaces between the bars. So unlike the bar graphs that we looked at with the qualitative data, we will not get spaces within the bars. So let's look at some sample data here just to kind of get us started. So right here, what this is just an overview of how often people have looked at, different people have looked at television here. And if these are number of hours of television time, we can see here that for 1 hour of television time, 2 people watched 1 hour. I'm going to go ahead and get my little comet pointer here. Okay. For 1 hour, there were 2 people that watched TV for 1 hour. Here there were 5 people that watched television for 2 hours. Here there were 9 people that watched television for 3 hours. Here there were 6 people that watched television for 4 hours. Here there were 8 people that watched television for 5 hours. Moving up here there were 3 people that watched television for 6 hours. There were 9 people that watched television for 7 hours, 3 people that watched television for 8 hours, and 5 people that watched television for 9 hours. So let's look to see how we can create a frequency table with this information. So the first step is that you want to determine the interval to start making the bins that you're going to be working with. And you're going to use, for this class, I'm going to go ahead and always give you the information like how wide is the bin going to be, what is the bin width, and what number you're going to start with. So here is the same data we had just a minute ago. Here is the width. It's just abbreviated by the letter W, and that equals 3. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you to start with 1. Okay? So what I did here is I went ahead and cut pasted all the information into Ziteboard. I will leave the link for you in the description bar below. And I want, here it says that it has a width of 3 to start at 1. Okay? So let's see, I'm just going to use these little emoji hands to count. So the first 3, if I start at 1, it's going to be 1, 2, 3. So my first interval is 1, 2, 3. If I use 3, if I keep the interval 3 again, then I'm going to get 4, 5, 6. So my next interval is going to be 4 to 6. And finally, then my next interval is going to be 7, 8, 9. So my next interval is going to be 7 to 9. Now I need to come over here and go ahead and add up to see what are the frequencies that all the people that watch TV between 1 to 3 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and just pop up my calculator here so that you can see how I'm adding things up. Okay, so here I have I'm going to add up everybody that watched television from 1 to 3 hours. So there were 2 people that watched for 1 hour. There were 5 people that watched for 2 hours, and there were 9 people that watched for 3 hours. So the number of hours that the number of people that watched TV 1 to 3 hours was 19 people. Okay. For the next one, I'm going to do the same thing. You know what I'm going to say? Clear, clear, clear. And I'm going to look to see how many people watch TV 4 to 6 hours. So here I have 6 plus, okay. For 5 hours, I have 8 plus. And for 6 hours, I have 3 equals, and that is 17. So here I have, there are 17 people. Oops. There are 17 people that watch television 4 to 6 hours, according to this data. Okay. The next one is how many people watched television 7 to 9 hours. So here is the 7 to 9 hour information. Here I have, I'm going to go ahead and open my calculator. Everybody say it with me. Clear, clear, clear. Okay. This is 9 hours, 9 plus, and then 3 plus, and then 5 equals 17. Okay. So here is my data for this. Okay, this is my information, my frequency table for this small piece, this small like data set. I have 19 people that watched television 1 to 3 hours. I have 4 to 6 people that watched television. I'm sorry. I have 17 people that watch television 4 to 6 hours, and I have 17 people that watch television 7 to 9 hours. And actually, I don't like this piece right here, number of hours to TV. That I would say that needs to go over here. We're going to do it. I should have noticed that. And this should be frequency. Okay. All right. So let's go to the next thing here. Now it says you're going to create a histogram for this. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to use this empty box here and just kind of pull it over from right here. Right? I have my histogram spot right here, and I'm going to go ahead and try to find here. I need to make these intervals so that I fit them all in there, right? So I'm going to probably need this one right here is going to have to end at, this first interval is going to be from 1 everything to 3 all the way up until we get to 4. Whoops, let me start this right here. All the way up until we get to 4. And this has got to be all the way, all the numbers from 4 all the way until we get to this 7, right? And right here is going to be, I'm just going to go ahead and make 1 right here. And just for the sake of making things a little bit more clear, I'm going to go ahead and make these intervals by 5. So that's 5, 10, 15, and 20. And I'm going to go ahead and draw my bar graphs right here. So let me go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and do this one in blue, just so you can kind of see how I'm doing this. So from 1 all the way up to 4, I'm going to have, okay, let's see, all the way up to about here. Okay, that is this one. The next one, let's do it in red. That's going to be a little bit less, right? It's going to be right about here. And everybody from 4 all the way up to 7 is going to be here. Let me make that a little bit better. This is really hideous. Okay, I'm trying my best. Okay, I'll color this one blue just so this box doesn't feel left out. Okay, and then this last one is going to go all the way up to all the 9s all the way up to 10, right? So I'm going to go ahead and color this one the same height as this one because it's 17, right? We're going to make this one pink or purple. I don't know what color that is. If you do know, please comment down below. Okay, so they're not the prettiest. This is what my histogram would look like, right? The tallest bar right here is interval that has the most amount of values, the greatest frequency is within this interval, and then the other ones are just a little bit less. All right. The last thing is the final touches. So the final touches for this is going in and doing things like adding the axes and giving the graph a title. So if I were going to go ahead and give this graph a title, I would do hours of television. I would say these are the amount of hours down here, and these are the amount of participants. So a study was done, and these were the participants. How could I find out how many people total were in this study? There's a few things I could do, right? I could get out my calculator and clear, and go through and add all these up, but I've already added them up in some way, right? I've already added up them slowly when it came over here. So if I wanted to, I could just add this up by going 19 plus 17 plus 17 equals 53. All right, so there's 53 people total in that study. So let's look at an example where things are a little bit different. Okay, try something else. Now look at this one. This one has the same bin width, but what's the difference? This time you're not starting at 1, you're starting with 0. So let's see how that plays a role in this. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my frequency table, right? And I'm going to go ahead and paste this into Ziteboard. Okay, so we're in Ziteboard, and I'm going to go ahead and drag this over. Let it load. And I'm going to go ahead and pull this over here. Okay, now, quick note. This data is the same data we worked with before. There's no changes. So this time, I'm going to start with 0. So now we're going to keep our bin width of 3. So we're going to use these 3 fingers, right? Use just those 3 fingers. And we're going to start with 3. Or we're going to start with 0. So we're going to go 0, 1, 2. The interval is 0, 2, 2. Okay? 0, 1, 2. The next one is going to be 3, 4, 5. So the bin width is going to be 3, 2, 5. The next interval is going to be from 6, 7, 8. So we're going to go to 6 to 8. Now, I have to go all the way up to 9 hours. So what does that mean? It means that I have to make another part of my frequency table here. I need to add to it so that I can make it fit. And here we're going to go 9, 10, 11. And this last interval is going to be 9 to 11. So let me get my calculator again, and we're going to go ahead and add these up. Get my calculator. Here it is. All right, clear, clear, clear. Okay, so between 0 and 2, I have 2 plus 5, and that is 7. Didn't really need a calculator for that, but just want to make sure that we're all looking at the same thing. Calculator time again. Clear, clear, clear. Here I'm going to count up everything. The amount of people that watch television, 3 to 5 hours. So here are 9 people, 9 plus 6 people, 6 plus, and then 8 people, 8 equals 23 people. So here for frequency, I can put in, scooch this over, 23 people. Okay, 6 to 8. Let's count this up. Ready? Bring it over this guy. Clear, clear, clear. So 6 to 8, there's 3 people that watch television for 6 hours. There are 9 people that watch television for 7 hours and 3 people that watch television for 8 hours. So that's 15. Let's scooch this over again. And then from 9 to 11, that interval is there's only 5 people here. Okay, so I have my interval. This time, the highest frequency is the greatest frequency is right here, people that have watched television between 3 to 5 hours. Now let's see what this is going to look like in terms of a histogram. I'm just going to bring my histogram thing over here. All right. So this first one, let's see, bring this guy right here. Okay, so hopefully I can make this fit. 10, 20, 30. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start doing the axis here so that everything fits. So I'm going to do this. Let's do the y-axis first. I'm going to do 0, 10, 20, 30. And I'm going to make this axis go from 0 to 3. Remember? Because anything, if for some reason I had 2.5, I would have to put it in this first bin. This next bin starts at 3. So everything prior to 3 has to go into this interval. So this next interval is going to start at 6, right? Because everything between 3 and 5, if we had 3.75 hours, it would have to go in through here. It can't go past it. The next interval is going to stop at 9, right? Because everything between 6 all the way up to 9. So 8.9999999 has to fit in through here. And the last interval is going to stop at 12. Because if we were to have values that were like 11.5, it would have to fit through here. Now I know that we don't have 12, it's not even on here, right? But remember, these intervals have to be equal length. If you look at this, this is a width of 3, 3, 3, 3. Okay, so let me go ahead and start drawing my ugly bars, because, you know, okay. So this first frequency is 7. I'm going to say that 7, everything is going to go up to 7, and it's going to be this right here. And I'm going to go ahead and color that pink. Next bar is going to be 3 to 5, right? So it's got to, and that has 23. That has a lot. So it's going to go all the way to here, right? Approximately here. Keep clicking on stuff. Approximately here. Look at that. And then it's going to, I'm trying my best to do this. Don't you think I'm improving? Comment down below. Okay. Right? So that's 3, 4, 5, 5.5, 5.99999, everything until we get to 6. So this is the next bar right here. Beautiful. Okay, let's do the next one. The next one is, let's do orange. So between 6 and 8, or 6 and 9, we have 15. So I'm going to do that one in orange. So here we're going to have about 15 is about here. So from here all the way, I keep pressing on something, all the way to here, right? I keep pressing on something, is going to be the next interval. Okay. And then finally, can you guess what color I'm going to pick? Let's go yellow. This last one, oh, that yellow isn't going to show up very good. Let's do gray. I've never used gray. Do you know? Oh, the gray's not going to show up either. Blue. Who chose blue? Comment down below. Okay, blue goes all the way just to 5, and that is just going to go to here, and that's going to finish up. So I'm starting to get, now I'm starting to get a distribution in through here. Distribution is like how are things distributed within the frequencies. Here, this interval right here goes from 0 all the way up until 3. Okay, the interval is 0, 1, 2, but 2 does not end until it gets to 3. This next one is going to be 3, 4, 5, and everything, every 5 that can exist until we get all the way up to 6. And through this interval is going to be 6, 7, 8, and everything until we get up to 9. Okay, so 8.99999999999 is still going to be orange. And then the last interval, 9, everything until we got to 11.999999 and so on would be in this blue box. Okay. The last step is to, if you remember, to put the final touches on. And the final touches have the title. So this is still going to be hours of TV. This is still going to be hours. And this is still going to be participants. Okay. So those would be the final hours, right? Remember, when we're working with frequency tables, in real life, it's very rare that you would make a frequency table by hand. For the purposes of this class, we like to teach you frequency tables because we work with histograms so much that you need to be able to kind of understand where the frequency tables, you need to be able to understand how the histograms are related to the frequency tables, how the histograms were created. But you just have to do it by hand a couple times, and then we rely on technology to do them. All right. All right, so let's do this next one. In this example, we're still working with the same number of hours of TV data. Okay, same stuff. This time, we're going to be working with a bin width of 2, and we're going to be starting at 0. So I'm going to go ahead and go back into Ziteboard, and in through here, I'm going to make space for us to work, scooching this down, and I'm going to go ahead and drag my picture over here. And go in here. Okay, so now we've got a bin width of 2. So now we've got to use just 2 of these fingers. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all the other fingers except for 2 of them. Okay, so all those are by. We're going to just use these 2 over and over. We're going to start at 0. So the first bin is going to go from 0 to 1. So 0 to 1. The next bin is going to go where? 2, 3. So 2 to 3. The next bin is going to go where? 4, 5. So 4, 5. The next bin is going to go 6, 7. So I'm going to have to make myself another row here at least. 6 to 7. And the last bin is going to go 8 to 9. Okay, so then 8 to 9. Here I have a lot more bins, right? Because I started earlier, I started at 0, and I had a bin width of 2. So smaller bin width, more bins. Okay, larger bin width, less bins. Okay, so let's get the calculator and let's start counting these up. You know what I'm going to say. I'm going to say clear, clear, clear. Okay, so 0 to 1, I have, that's going to be 2 people. I'm not going to even add that because there's no 0 and there's 2. So we're going to go ahead and start with the frequency of 2. And from 2 to 3, I'm going to just use my calculator. If you can do it without a calculator, I applaud you. I just want to make sure that everybody sees where I'm getting this. So there are 5 people that watch TV 2 hours, and there are 9 people that watch TV 3 hours, so that is 14 people total. Okay. For this next bin, 4 to 5, you know what I'm going to say. Clear, 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 clear. And there are 6 people that watch TV 4 hours and 8 people that watch TV 5 hours. So together, that is, again, 14 people. Oops. For the bin of 6 to 7, there are, here's my thing, clear, 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 clear. There are 3 people that watch television 6 hours, and there are 9 people that watch television 7 hours. So together that is, scooch this over, otherwise I get those weird lines, 12 hours. From 8 to 9, clear, 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 I have 3 hours, or 3 people that watched television 8 hours in a week, and I have 5 people that watch television 9 hours in a week, and that comes out to 8 hours. So scooch this over, 8 hours. Now this is the same people, right? We're just using the data a little bit differently. Okay, very good. Let's see what happens when I try to make a frequency table with this. And I'm a little bit worried because, you know what, this time I'm just going to freehand the whole thing. Let's see if Taurus can do this, because I'm just so concerned that I'm going to run out of room, that I want to be a little bit proactive. All right, so here is my, send good vibes, everybody, send good vibes. Okay, so here is my y-axis, and here is my x-axis. And I'm going to go ahead and make some intervals here. I'm trying my best to keep them equally spaced. And I'm going to go ahead and make some intervals here. I'm going to make these by 5, 10, 15, 20. So 5, 10, 15, 20, and these are going to go, this is going to be 0, and this is going to be, do you know what it's going to be? It's going to be 2. And the next one is going to be 4. And the next one is going to be 6. And the next one is going to be 8. And if we needed this one, it would be 10. Okay, so let's start doing this. Let's see. You know, this time I'm going with yellow. All right, so this first one is going to be yellow, and it is 0, 1, and everything until we get to 2, and that's going to be 2. So 2 is about here, and this would be my first column. This time I'm gonna, you know, I've never used gray. Will it show up? It kind of shows up. I bet you it'll show up here. So for between 2, all the 3s until we get to 4, we're gonna have 14. So this one's gonna be a little bit taller. Ooh, oh man. Okay, that's 14. Let's do this light blue one. I think this light blue is my favorite one. So let's do this turquoise color. And there is also 14 people that watch television 4 to 5 hours, and we're gonna do the column all the way till we get to 6, because remember that any partial 5s are taken up into this column, so that if we had like 5.99999, it would still go into this turquoise column, and not into this 6 to 8 or 6, 7 column. Okay, the 6, 7 column is a little bit taller. It's going to be, or actually no, I take it back. The 6, 7 column is less. It's 12, so it's just a little bit less. So it kind of goes to here. And this is going to include the 6s and the 7s all the way up until we hit 8. Once 8 comes, then it's going to go into the next column, which we will end up coloring red. So here's the red column, and there are 8 in the 8 to 10 column, and that's going to go approximately here. Oops. I got excited. I thought I was doing so good. I wonder how come I can never color this all the way to the lines. I don't know. Okay, so that's kind of what it would look like, okay, if this was a bar graph. Now, the last step, don't forget, is the finishing touches. So the finishing touches would be a title, and we're going to call this Hours of TV. Right here are the intervals of hours. And over here is the number of participants. Okay, number of participants. And we got another frequency table. Now, for assessment, meaning for an exam, I would not have you create a frequency table unless it's a very small data set. So I'm not going to give you 50 numbers for you to create a frequency table with. Same with creating your own histogram. I'm not going to give you a whole lot of data. Anything that would have a whole lot of data, I would give you a spreadsheet and have you use StatCrunch in order to create this data. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and stop histograms at this point for today. I will continue with this material the next time I see you. Before then, there's a couple things that I'd like to remind you of. First, make sure that you're going onto Blackboard to make sure that you're not missing any assignments or any check-ins with me. One thing that I've already posted on Blackboard, and you should have completed already, is that I need you to go into this website. It's www.testmybrain.org, and I need you to participate in 2 studies. One of them is the Recognizing Famous Faces studies, and the other one is the anger, fear, happiness, or something like that study. The names are in Blackboard, and you can figure out exactly the exact name for it and where you will put your results. After you take each one of the quizzes, I want you to save your results and submit them into one of the quizzes into Blackboard. So what you're going to do after you get off of this lecture, you're going to go into Blackboard, find the quiz that's called Memory Study, open it up, then go into testmybrain.org, take the 2 tests, and each time you get the results for each one of the tests, please paste the results into the fields in your quiz, right? So there's going to be one field, one question that you would paste all your results from the memory study into for the famous faces, and the other question you're going to paste the results for the second memory study into that. So basically the answers to your quiz are the results of the 2 memory studies. I need this information because we're going to be using it as real life data to continue working on measures of center. So what's the big idea? There are 2 types of data: qualitative data, which describes characteristics, and quantitative data, which describes a quantity of a measured amount. In order to visually display this information, we can use bar graphs for qualitative data or categorical data. And bar graphs are used to compare variables. Histograms show the distribution of variables, and they plot quantitative data with ranges of the data grouped into bins or intervals. For our class, I will always tell you what I want the bin width to be and what number you should start with. Depending on your bin width, will decide on how many columns your histogram will end up with. So that's it for today. With that said, don't forget to check your emails, check Blackboard, do your homework, and subscribe to this channel. Even better, hit that notification bell so you know when there are new videos for this course. Okay? This is your teacher, Torres, saying stay safe, and I will be waiting to give you a virtual elbow bump in the next video. Ciao!